Yeah, exactly. And that's the little old lady a couple of doors down who we took her, he took her, we took her, Phyllis and I took her to the fire store. He invited her to the fireworks. And I drove by the house to see, and it has a historical thing, so they can't.
Good morning, everybody. If you could all take your seats, please. Take your seats, please. Again, we have donuts and coffee for sale in the back. I apologize about the agenda. Usually we have a QR code. It is not working. I have some printed out agendas for you. I'll have it up here the whole meeting, but I'll pass some of these out if you guys could share some of these printed out agendas.
Taylor, I had my Harris thing, we're still sitting in my, and Taylor came and picked me up, right, she's up, I like your sign. Your Harris sign. So Taylor is Democrat, so maybe I'll suggest we go to the Salt Night happy hour.
All right, have your seat, please. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Welcome back to the Senior Center. We've been in different places for a little bit. You can tell they've done some remodeling. Looks really nice in here. I really appreciate what they've done. If you don't know, my name is Carl Laubach. I am the chair of the Royal Oak Area Democratic Club. Right there at the table, operating the Zoom, is Mike James. Raise your hand, Mike. Next to him is our secretary, Lisa Mason. And at the back table is Deb Olszewski, our treasurer. That said, we have a big meeting going, so we have a lot to cover. Let's start with, if everyone knows how our club is made up, we are the general membership of the club, but we have two other entities attached to our club. One of them is the high school Dems for Royal Oak, and the second one is Royal Oak Rising, which is our youth outreach program run by Peyton. Peyton, raise your hand. Peyton. Peyton's in the back selling donuts and coffee. So that said, we had what we call a triad meeting. We're going to have a triad meeting twice a year. And what a triad meeting is our three entities get together and we plan for the next 6 months and the next year. So every 6 months, we're going to set goals. And then next 6 months, we see how we did. And for the next 6 months, we're going to keep on going from that way going forward. So what we're going to do is we had this meeting in August and we have a summary of it. And Charlie is going to go ahead and talk us through the summary of our triad meeting. So everybody welcome Charlie Fleetham.
Hi, everybody. My name's Charlie. Is this working?
Yeah.
Hey, my name's Charlie Fleetham, and I have some talking points here. I've been a member of this club now for 4 years. I'm a part-time protester. If you've gone past 11 in Maine on Thursdays between 5 and 6 and seen someone holding a Ukrainian flag, that's me, right? Yep. I'm a member of the Oakland County Democratic Party, and also one of the founding members of Dads Against Dictators. And we meet in a garage once a month and surround ourselves with generators and tools and feel pretty good about that.
That's in my garage.
Yeah. Oh, you're here. All right, good. I didn't see you as one of our dads. All right, beautiful. So a couple months ago, Carl and Mike asked me to plan and facilitate a meeting that would bring the three teams together in a singular goal and singular strategy. And hopefully, how many people have one of these at their table? This is the meeting summary? Just one person. Thank you, Kathleen. Anybody else have it? Raise your hands, please, so I know who's got it. Okay, great. Lots of people have it. And we have copies back there with Claire if you don't have one. So each group developed a plan, and then they submitted that plan to the entire group in August. I think it was August 17th. And this document compiles the feedback on those plans. So like, best, need, next, if you happen to look at it. So we had a lot of round robin feedback, and then we came up with one goal to rule us all and 3 strategies. So what I'd like real quick is for the participants of that meeting to stand up and come up front. Matt, come on up. Where's Cameron? Owen, come on up. Okay, so anyone else here? Peyton? Where's Peyton?
Might be hiding.
Hiding. Peyton's hiding. Okay, so these are our high school leaders. Let's hear for our high school folks. Okay. And Max and Matt are the Royal Oak Rising representatives. I don't know where Peyton is. And these people put in hours of pre-work meeting in their teams, and they came forward with PowerPoint presentations and things that they wanted. And we spent almost an hour going through those presentations to come up with one goal to rule us all. So the one goal to rule us all: elect Democrats who share our values for community, economic, and social justice. One goal to rule us all. Elect Democrats who share our values for community, economic, and social justice. So what do you think of that? Anyone like it? Okay, that's our goal. And each one of these teams is going to be pursuing that goal, okay, with their own set of plans. Peyton, come on up. Let's hear for Peyton. She's been the longest. Okay. And we have 3 strategies: get more volunteers, build trust with our members, and create a strong digital presence. So those are our 3 strategies. So each team is going to work on those 3 things: getting more people involved, building trust with the people who do get involved, because trust is the glue that brings us back together, that holds us together, that keeps us on the street at 11 in Main with our team members, and then create a strong digital presence. Those are our 3 strategies. Now, to get moving on it, if you open up this little summary, on the last page, you'll see a feedback and a volunteer form. So these folks want more people to participate. They need you to help them, particularly the Royal Oak Rising and the high school kids. You'd be amazed at what they're doing. And I know throughout the year, Mike and Carl are going to ask them to come up and present what they're doing, right? I mean, so there's going to be interactivity. So what I'd like to do to end this is real quick, ask Owen to come on up and talk about, just, you only get 5 sentences, okay? Why one goal to rule us all is important to you. Okay, Owen, ready, set, go.
I think that this goal is important because electing Dems is the reason why we're here. We're not here just to go out and protest. We're here to elect people who share our values and get things done. And the high school Dems have been doing that through volunteering and going out and hearing from candidates. And I think that doing this is going to be how we win this next election.
Thank you.
Bring Matt.
Okay, so
Matt's accomplished.
okay, so for me,
Matt, introduce yourself.
okay, so my name's Matt Wilkins. I've lived in Royal Oak since 2009. I've been helping out with Royal Oak Rising as just a pinch hitter for Peyton and Eric Harrison mostly, but trying to do as much as I can. For me, the most important thing is we have to win elections before they change the elections too much where we can't win anymore. And you have to have political power in order to make change. So if you don't win, you're not going to be, you're not going to have any seat at the table. So.
We learned this, I didn't ask Carl to come up, because without Carl, we wouldn't have had this meeting. So come on up. I'm the lead facilitator for just a moment. Okay, Carl? Why is this goal important to you? You had a major voice. Our one goal to rule us all. Elect Democrats.
Elect Democrats who share our values for community, economic, and social justice. Obviously, we're going through a terrible time right now with people who don't care about equality, social justice and whatnot. So that is our club's goal. We see in the news right now, every single day, something new, some new bad thing has happened. So what can we do? We are a blue city in a blue county in technically a blue state. So all we can do here in this room is work on our blue here in the city, our blue here in the county, and our blue here in the state. So that's our goal. That's our goal.
Energy, passion, commitment to blue elected Democrats. So what I'd like to do is get you in your seats. This is our icebreaker. 3 minutes to talk about either the summary that you read prior to the meeting or what you just heard. 3 minutes. Ready, set, go, talk.
Charlie.
No, you guys go talk.
Yeah, so we all have like teamwork. We try to organize it's hard for me to make time. But what I can so far is there's a lot of young people. My father-in-law, he has the same feeling, so he's always going like, how do you get more young people involved? And so that's why I've been trying to work with Kolo and I think we got to have presidents, we got to how do we do those things? Now with like the environment, everything is fast. People, we don't want to pay attention to what's happening. Break through that, show that it's just how you have people where they are, not just sit around.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Back to order. 3 minutes are up. Carl? So, our team members are going to be here through the meeting. And if you want to volunteer, if you want to give feedback on the summary, I know they would love to each get at least one form from you, okay? Thank you very much. Back to Carl.
Thank you, Charlie. Wonderful job. Charlie is a treasure for this firm. All right, next up, we have a guest speaker, Julie Campbell-Bode. She's an activist from Distill Social. She's going to speak about the 2 ballot initiatives coming up, Invest in MI Kids and Money Out of Politics. Julie, come on up. Let's have a big round of applause for Julie.
Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me okay in the back there? Awesome, fantastic. My name is Julie. I'm the co-founder of Distill Social, and I am also live, as Tom knows, in downtown Royal Oak, so I'm an actual local. So if you're wandering around the streets of Royal Oak, you'll often see me, as Tom knows, he's always seeing me wandering the streets. I walk almost every day. Oh, as does Lauren. I hop onto her porch almost every other day looking for her. But at any rate, has anyone heard of Distill Social? Yeah. So just a little bit about what we do. My background, obviously I have an unusual accent. I come from the very south of Royal Oak, Australia. So I came here 10 years ago, moved into Royal Oak and worked on the Hillary campaign as a volunteer back then because I thought, oh, this is going to be fantastic. I'm going to be able to help get the first female president of the United States elected. Yeah, I was pretty excited about that. And then it all turned to shit, quite frankly. And I decided I could not just let that be. So I took my corporate background talents and my shit stirring background from Australia and started to stir shit here. So I was the board chair of Femmes for Dems and the founder of Femmes for Democracy back in the day. But I decided in 2020, end of 2020, 2021, that we weren't getting to young people. I'm so excited to see Royal Oak Rising at the back there. Big round of applause for those guys. And one of the reasons I felt that we weren't speaking or getting to young people was because we were talking on TV. And how many people watch cable TV that are under 50 here? Probably not many, quite honestly. I know that my husband, who's a little younger than me, only watches YouTube. That's basically where he gets all of his information. There is good stuff on there as well. But I recognised that there was something missing, and I had at the time, the President of the United States, his team, the governor here, who were very proud to get elected back in 2018. All of her teams were sending me constantly these 5-page PDFs saying, can you please get this messaging out to the Femmes community, Julie? Because that's kind of my job. And I'm like, bloody hell, I'm not a journalist. How do I distill this down? How do I get this information out to people in a way that they're going to be able to consume it and actually want to take action and do something about it? So I grabbed my friend Gina Keller, who is far, far, far more talented than what I am, more moral, better looking, younger and more talented. And I thought, because that's who you have to surround yourself with, right? That's how you succeed. I grabbed Gina and I said, we have to do something to basically get to young people, but not just young people, people outside of the bubble. People are just wandering around living their lives and aren't seeing this information or getting this news, which we know is so important. So we started Distill Social. Distill Social, we started pretty much on TikTok. That was our beginning. We had a couple of viral videos that ended up the Young Turks. Also, I had my sister-in-law from Australia wake me up one morning and say, why the bloody hell am I seeing a video of you interviewing a guy holding a rifle at an abortion clinic in America, Julie? And I'm like, oh shit. So it went pretty viral back then, and that's kind of where it started. So that was the TikTok. We've advanced since then. We don't have mid-50 ladies as the face of Distill anymore. You'll notice that it's all people once again, much younger, better looking and more moral than I am. So we really have been building our online presence. We've now expanded to podcasts. So if you like to hear me swear, and I do swear a little bit, please listen to Point of Disorder. We also have a second podcast now with Laurie Goldman called For the Sake of the Argument. And there's lots of arguments on that one, let me tell you. And we've brought in some incredible young people into our team who are producing our YouTube, and it's just very exciting. The one thing, if anyone remembers, I was here, I think it was 2 years ago, talking about the ballot petitions. You all may have heard about the ballot petitions that are out there at the moment. One thing that Distill Social does in conjunction with Femmes is we recognised back in 2022 with all of these incredible ballot petitions we had reproductive freedom for all, we had promote the vote, we had raise the minimum wage, we had the Michigan United and Good Time ballot initiatives. So we had 4 incredible ballot initiatives. But what I was frustrated by, I would walk around Royal Oak and people would come up to me with these ballot petitions, but but one at a time. And how am I supposed to bloody remember what I've signed? And also it's like, if they're all together, you know, there was something so connected between all of those ballot petitions in terms of what we were trying to achieve. So we decided to mobilise people by doing what we call our ballot project, which was really about getting all of our volunteers to carry not just reproductive freedom for all, but reproductive freedom for all, promote the vote, raise the minimum wage, and the Good Time Ballot Initiative. And we taught them, we educated them on how to speak to people about all of those ballot petitions and explain, I'm doing a public service to you. You can now say to the next person who comes along, no, I've signed them all. It's so much easier. So I know that many of you already have probably, Charlie, I'm sure, has been in here, VNP. I know that Paul's up the back there with the Rank My Vote ballot petitions. Sorry? Oh, Invest in My Kids. Sorry, Paul. Invest in My Kids. So I know you've probably heard about all of these ballot petitions that they're out there. What we do, or what we've done at Distill, is recreate our ballot project from 2022. And we built an infrastructure all around the state back then of distributors who basically have all of the ballot petitions. So Deb, up the back here, Deb, thank you, Deb. She's our Royal Oak distributor. She's a little overwhelmed. She's got, how many volunteers have you got on your list? It's a lot. I think it's like 30 or something. Yeah, she has a lot of people she's looking after. But what we do is we basically provide Deb, who's our local distributor, with all of the ballot petitions and kits. Basically, if you'd like to volunteer and carry all of the ballot petitions, then basically you sign up with us. We'll connect you with your local distributor, which is likely to be Deb, and I think we have one other in Royal Oak now too. And they'll provide you with your kit. Now, your kit will include the ballot petitions, a clipboard, instructions, and all of that kind of stuff. I run training. Oh, there you go. Someone's got their kit there. It's like this. Yeah, it's like that. So it's pretty easy. I run Zoom trainings. At the moment, it's Mondays and Tuesdays every week in September. So you can come on and learn all about details about the ballot petitions and what to do and what not to do when it comes to ballot petitions. But I did bring with me today, even though we have a very firm no paper, everything's in your pocket on your phone, because we also have an app now. Just a shameless plug, Distill Social has an app. I did bring flyers today explaining a little bit about the two main ballot petitions that we're focused on, which is tax the rich and fund our schools. That's the Invest in My Kids ballot petition, which Paul's got up the back there. Has everyone heard about that particular ballot petition? Really briefly, what it does, and I don't know how much time, Carl, please just... Go ahead. Okay, thank you. Basically what it does, it adds a 5% tax on anyone earning as a single filer over $500,000 per year, as a couple, $1 million per year. So every dollar or penny they earn over those amounts, they'll be taxed an extra 5%. So it's not 9.25 across the board, it's 4.25 up until that 500,000 or $1 million, and then an extra 5%, 9.25% in total above that. All of those funds will then go to basically funding public schools. And Lauren being a public school teacher, I know. And the expectation is it's going to basically provide an extra $1 billion annually, $1 billion annually to public schools in Michigan, which is so critical. A lot more detail will be, you come along to the training, which if you sign up, you'll be invited to. And I have, not me, I do the basics, but the subject matter experts come and talk about details about the actual ballot petition, but there's that. The second one is for getting corporate money out of politics. I'm just going to a moment and say I'm bloody tired. I've only been here 10 years and I'm bloody tired. I'm tired of billionaires. I'm tired of corporations. I'm tired of everyone else. And I know I can't vote, and I openly say that, and I don't mind you videoing me, and I don't vote, and I just want to point that out. So I'm on a green card, so I'm not able to vote. But I'm really bloody tired of all this work we have to do constantly. And corporations and billionaires have so much more of a say in how our daily lives look, and it really pisses me off. So this one I'm very, very passionate about. So Citizens United, I may have only been here 10 years, but I've seen it at work very much in that 10 years. This is our opportunity for this Michigan for Money Out of Politics. This one is being run by Voters Not Politicians. There's a whole coalition, Michigan United, that's around this one. And this one is basically banning political contributions from regulated monopoly utilities like DTE. Anyone? Anyone lost power and had a bloody increase in their rates lately? Yep, yeah, all of us. And Consumers Energy. And also it's going to stop political contributions to elected officials that impact people that have government contracts. So if you have a government contract of over $250,000 as an organisation, you will not be able to contribute to the politicians that basically are making the decisions around who gets the contracts and who doesn't get the contracts. And there's a bloody shit ton of them. So that's the other one as well. So if you don't have, I know people, I do swear, sorry, I try not to. Those that know me know that I'm being very restrained right now. So basically, if you are applying for a contract or you have a contract, you will not be able to. Let's get rid of bloody corruption. Let's make corruption bad again. So the whole point of that is obviously that we can't, and people say to you, well, it's not going to fix everything. And it's like, yeah, we can't fix everything. We're not in that position to be able to do that, but we can make it bloody harder for them. And also I think these conversations that we have when we're talking to people, I know back in 2022, we had the incredible conversations with people which then drove them out to vote. My late dad used to say, in a 2-horse race, always back self-interest. What does that mean? People go out to vote for their own interests. And if they think that the people that they're voting for are not covering or meeting their own interests, they don't vote. It's as simple as that. These ballot petitions give people some self-interest. If you have kids in public education, or if your power is going out every other bloody week and you're paying more for it, that's your self-interest. So this is about the conversations we have with people around these ballot petitions. And what I'm also hoping on top of that is the conversations we're having when we start to use corruption around this Michigan for Money Out of Politics. When we start to work, hopefully we're educating people on what corruption is and that it's every bloody where, not just in Michigan, it's happening at a federal level. Please follow Distill Social. If you would like to volunteer and receive a kit, just like this lovely lady down here has, at the back near where Deb is, we've got I've got these flyers with a little bit of an explanation and a QR code to basically sign up, and we will add you to the list and you'll receive an invitation to spend an hour on Zoom with me, which is so exciting. Follow us on social media, listen to the podcasts. Don't listen to it when you've got kids in the car. That's my public service announcement. Thank you so much, and thank you all for everything that you do.
Thank you so much, Julie. So I'll also, on our email list, I'll also put Social's email address on there as well. And if anybody's wondering about the Rank My Vote, we're going to have a speaker in October for the Rank My Vote. So, and he's going to explain it all over again for us. Now it's a statewide ballot initiative they're going for. Our next speaker is Rachel Howard, a Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate. Come on up, Rachel.
Thank you. You tied me in one spot with a cord, so excuse me. I'm a pacer, so forgive me. As you said, my name is Rachel Howard, and I am running for U.S. Senate. Given that I am guessing the vast majority, if not all of you, have probably not heard of me, if I'm guessing right, I want to take a few moments and kind of touch on who I am and where I came from, because I truly believe that we need to understand people's motivations, and part of that comes from understanding the person themselves. So my name is Rachel Howard. I'm a mom in a blended family with 4 boys. I am a lifelong Michigander, born and raised here in Crittenden when it was still Crittenden. And I come from a family essentially of the American dream. So my great-grandparents on my father's side actually immigrated here from Lithuania back in, that is the second time in 1 month I've got a cheer for Lithuania. Thank you. I love it. My family came here in the early 1900s. There was a lot of turmoil at the time. There was Russian occupation. My family came here and they wouldn't even talk about it. To this day, I don't know what they experienced because whatever it was horrific enough that they chose to completely put it in the past. They came here because they believed in the American dream, a dream where anyone, regardless of their past, could come here and have a quality of life, have safety, and raise a family. My mother's side comes from Kentucky. My grandfather was a coal miner. He got married and lived in a shack that had dirt floors, no utilities. That's what his whole family did. They were coal miners. And when he was working one day in the scene that he had been in collapsed, very nearly killing him and his brother, he said, "This is not for me." So he left mining and he went into day labor. Anyone who understands day labor knows that that is not something that provides a quality of life. So he took himself, his young wife, and newborn daughter, and he moved to Michigan on nothing but the promise that he had heard. The promise of the Michigan unions that said that they will provide a quality of life. Exactly what he said. So he came up here with no job secure, no place to live, and he received a job with the steelworkers unions in Gibraltar. Harry Lester was able to provide him a job. He ended up having 2 daughters, both of which went on to receive advanced degrees in their field of choice. That is the American dream, where someone who came from absolutely nothing was able to raise a family that was healthy, that was happy, and they were able to achieve a quality of life that he had not imagined previously. The American dream is if you bring the hard work, we will provide the opportunity. So that's my family. I grew up in Michigan, southeastern Michigan, go Romeo Bulldogs. And I've never left because Michigan is my home. But over the last, we'll say 15 years, I've woken up every day going, what fresh hell am I gonna see today? What am I gonna see on the news today that just demonstrates that that American dream is not what it was for my great-grandparents and my grandparents? So when I graduated in Romeo in 2001, I went on to work as an EMT in southeastern Michigan. I worked in the Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County areas. And then I went on to join the military. I was in the military for 14 years. I retired medically. I was a combat medic with tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. I served here stateside for both Michigan and federally within the US. And in 2012, I received a Purple Heart from Afghanistan. I came home. I came home with a true belief that service does not stop when the uniform comes off. So I went on and I received my master's in public health. I received a master's in social work with an emphasis on systems change and leadership, and identifying the variables that go into the problems we have and how to come up with solutions and get people to the table to talk and buy into those solutions. I went on to research, where I've worked in healthcare research in both the public and private sector. Most recently at the VA, where I spent the last 4 years working in deployment-related respiratory disease for veterans who were coming home. Early in January, a lot of things changed. I saw an organization that I not only cared about as an employee, but also as a patient, be absolutely decimated. I saw the American dream disappear even more for the people all around me, both my family, my friends, the rest of society. And I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't sit by and watch the country that I have served my entire adult life just fall apart. So as I'm complaining more and more every day, getting angrier and angrier, my husband called me out. And after about 2 hours of ranting one day, he finally said, you know what, Ray, you can put up or shut up. Do something about it or kind of quit your bitching. And he was right. And I hate that he was right, but he was. I'm still angry about that. But to this day, what it comes down to is, can I honestly say at the end of the day that I did absolutely everything I could that was within my power to improve society around me? And I couldn't. I loved my job. I was doing a service, but at the end of the day, I couldn't say I had done everything in my power. So I chose to leave the VA. Earlier this year, I left the VA and I made the decision to run for office. So that's why I'm here in front of all of you today explaining my entire life story. I believe in a few core values, and that's basically the hierarchy of needs, that everybody has a right to food, shelter, health care that includes mental health care, and the ability to find a job that will support them and their family through all of these variables and their transitions through life. That childcare needs to be tax deductible, aftercare and summer care included, so that parents can work. That housing is supposed to be priced so that people can actually grow up and grow old in the communities that they always called home, instead of being priced out and having to move. That jobs are supposed to be accessible and priced so that they can actually provide a quality of life. That people shouldn't be struggling every day to work. Now, my background is in systems change, whether that was on the research side or whether that was on the military side. My entire process of thinking is based on understanding the variables that go into a problem and how to fix those so that the problem itself is improved. Not quick fix Band-Aids on things that look good for a couple of years but that fall apart down the road. So things like housing is an incredibly complex issue, but the variables that go into it, the federal deficit that we just tripled, needs to be reduced. Those are things that impact our mortgage interest rates drastically. These are things that keep people from being able to afford homes. Bringing economy back to Michigan and the US in general. We have unions in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan that I just spoke with that are at risk of going completely under because of the decisions that are being made currently. These are thousands of people whose homes will be lost, whose employment is going to be gone, whose healthcare is going to disappear because we're cutting back on Medicare. These are the variables that I know that I can change because I have done so for 25 years. Now, I want to give a minute for questions and answers because I've touched on quite a few things. And before we go too deep into anything, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have so far. Yes.
I'm a very scared senior
I believe
about my
it.
twilight years, especially with the current administration. But most of all, our children's and planet's future.
Yeah.
So as Democrats, can we be more ethical, not only in business, but also at the state, county, and local level?
Some of these,
we're not repeating the Trump administration.
We can't and won't repeat the Trump administration. It may pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass. So when we're looking at a couple of the variables here, one of them that is pretty contested is clean energy. So we're looking at some of our industries that are here in Michigan that are providing jobs that provide housing and food and healthcare for people within Michigan. The clean energy is something that we have to be paying attention to. It is absolutely critical for long-term viability and success of both the state and the nation. The common sense approach, which I always use, I'm a common sense person, also says that we can't do this overnight. So being able to create long-term goals that are realistic, moving to clean energy, is incredibly important, but we have to recognize that we need to do it in a stepwise fashion and ensure that we allow appropriate timelines that guarantee our industries don't go under and fail too quickly. Otherwise, people are out of houses, they're out of jobs, they're not getting food, healthcare. So being able to apply appropriate measures like clean energy long-term that benefit us as a state and a planet, but that also match our current technology and technology that we'll be developing down the road in the future. Is there any other variables on that I can touch on for you?
Just being more ethical.
Ethical, and where was my Distill social? Money out of politics is going to be a big one. Money out of politics, 100%. Anytime you have a situation in which there's a conflict of interest, you're going to have corruption. I don't believe that corporations in any way, shape, or form should be able to contribute to campaigns. Sorry. If you are more than a small business, you should not be able to contribute to campaigns. You cannot buy your legislation. That is, I already signed the petition on that one a long time ago. I personally refuse to take money from anything other than private citizens. That is how we got where we are. Other questions?
Well, yeah, just to expand on that. In 2024 in Michigan, over $140 million was spent for the U.S. Senate race. So how do you foresee negotiating that very difficult financial landscape?
Practically for myself or large scale ethically? Practically for myself. How can I win without essentially accepting money?
Or, you know, I mean, you got it, 10, 15, 20 million?
It is actually disturbing the amount of money that we raise for elections. My race alone is expected at a minimum of $5 million per candidate, which to me is absolutely mind-blowing with what we could do with that amount of money. The good that we could do with a minimum of $25 million for one single race, it is absolutely insane. I personally will not accept funds from anything other than private citizens. However, it also means that you have to be incredibly creative. Until we're able to change the law, which I believe needs to be changed, we have to be creative. I have a team of essentially volunteers that are putting 20 to 40 hours a week into my campaign because they believe in it. Because they believe that this is the beginning, not necessarily of a candidacy that turns into a job position, but because we are trying to change the entire model of how we operate as a political system. So I have been campaigning now for 5 months, and I have spent an absolute tiny fraction of what the average candidate has for this office, because I've done so creatively and I've done so through the power of people who actually believe in my platform, not through money. So practically, it is possible, but we have to believe that it's possible and actually engage with that.
One more quick question.
All right, one question, who's gonna battle it out?
Rock, paper, scissors.
All right, and I'll be happy to talk with anybody else after too.
Hi, U.S. Senate is an incredibly important
It is.
office. What other experience do you have locally? Have you run other campaigns? Have you served, I mean, I understand your work experience, very, very impressive. But what other?
No, I have not run for office. I am not a politician. It's actually one of the things that I kind of laugh about in a way. I'm not a politician. I never wanted to be a politician. I always said I'd rather eat glass than be a politician. Quite frankly, that's still the same. I don't want to have to do this. I liked my job. I liked being nobody that did my service and went home and spent my evenings with my family. But I can't do that. This is too important to cross my fingers and hope that someone is going to do the right thing. So I'm not a politician. I haven't worked my way up through the ranks. I didn't start at city council and work my way up with a multitude of elections and kind of wait for my turn. But right now, I'm also looking at a climate in which we've relied on politicians, and look where we are. I don't know necessarily if career politicians is the direction we should be going, rather than private citizens who just believe in doing the right thing and have the experience to do so. I don't have any strings attached, aside from the people that I report to, and the people I report to are you. So I think that was the last one before I get pulled off. I will be around for the rest of the meeting. If anybody wants to talk more, I'll be in the back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel. All right, real quick, let's get down some club business. Deb, treasurer's report. Okay, say it one more time. $5,511 in our savings. Thank you, Deb. All right. One more thing we're going to do before we get some other people talking. Mike, why don't you come on up? We have a special presentation. Someone who has been working for this club in overtime. Fantastic job. We see the results of this person's work and we want to reward this person. So Peyton, could you come up here, please? Let's give a warm welcome to Peyton.
I think Peyton is as shy as I am. But we just wanted to thank you for the tremendous effort in building our community efforts and the youth effort over, how long has it been, 2 years or?
Almost a year now.
Almost a year. Seems like you've been.
Actually, a little over a year.
Seems like you've been with us forever now at this point, and that's a good thing. But we wanted to do, this is like a gesture we give occasionally. I think this is probably the 6th one we've ever handed out in the history of the club. And usually it's to an elected officer.
Oh.
But this is our highest gesture of gratitude.
So heavy.
And this is the root beer to go into it. It's so big that it's not enough root beer, so we'll let you figure that out.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
So valuable to the club. Thank you so much, Peyton, for everything. All right, let's get to our elected officials, starting with one of Royal Oak and Clawson's state reps, Natalie Price.
Thank you. Happy to be here with you all today. I see a couple others have trickled in since I sat down. Let me tell you what's been going on in Lansing, in case you haven't been seeing the budget, right? We should have had the budget done in the spring. We should have had it done by July 1st. Now the school year has started and the schools are without a state budget. I met yesterday morning with all of the Oakland County superintendents, and it was bleak. They are talking to banks about taking out loans to pay for their payroll. That is not how we want our good taxpayer money to be spent, paying off bank loans. There are schools, so I think both Royal Oak schools and recently Berkeley schools also announced that unless we have a state budget by October 1st, they're gonna stop providing free breakfast and lunches to our kids. So it is getting urgent, it is getting immediate, and your advocacy is making a difference. We have had outreach from all of the education groups, from our constituents, parents, teachers, people who just pay attention and want our schools to be funded, putting real pressure on us in Lansing to get a school budget done, to get the budget done in general. And it's making a difference. Finally, I hear at least rumors that Matt Hall, our speaker, Republican speaker in the House, Governor Whitmer and Winnie Brinks are sitting down, and they're all experiencing a lot of pressure to go into conference and negotiate their budgets. So keep up the pressure, keep up the good work. Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing that. What else? I want to tell you a little bit about some of the behind the scenes work that I've been doing this week that's on an issue that's near and dear to me and my family. I'm sure many of you have heard that University of Michigan has stopped providing gender affirming care to people under 19. And there are a few things that I want you to know about this. Last time when Corwell threatened to stop providing gender affirming care, you guys may remember, I showed up to the meeting and I encouraged you guys to put some pressure on, and it worked, and they reversed their decision and they started providing care again. So that was the right strategy then. Now we're in a different situation, right? University of Michigan Health Systems has been subpoenaed. They have been told by the federal government that they will not only lose Medicaid funding for all of their patients, but they will need to provide, well, they've been told to provide the health records and the information about the providers who have been providing this care and the parents who have been supporting their kids getting this care. And so in order to protect healthcare for everybody else, they now are being forced to deny care for transgender and non-binary kids under 19. And it's heartbreaking. And it's requiring us to do a pivot in how we're talking about this and messaging about it. So I was so privileged this week to use those relationships that I built in Lansing with the healthcare providers, with the Michigan Health and Hospital Association, with the different representatives from some of the hospital groups, to be able to sit down with my contact at Equality Michigan, who's a fantastic, amazing advocate for transgender rights, and to have a conversation. We all agree, the hospitals and the Equality and me and you all, that the relationship between the provider and the patient is so important, that we should not, as politicians, be making decisions about who can and cannot receive care. Gender affirming care is not controversial in the medical field. We need to trust providers. And yet, because of the Trump administration and them extending beyond their reasonable powers, there's a real threat to everyone being able to receive health care. So rather than simply shame the hospital systems that are and will continue to remove this gender affirming care, we need to offer some off-ramps, and we need to find ways to support those kids who are currently not able to receive care at the expense of them being denied care in order to protect care for everybody else. So one of my kind of calls to action this week is support those kids. Equality Michigan is doing some great work, actually setting up a system of providers right now that want to, oh, thank you, Deb, remind me to hold the mic closer, that want to use what they know is best and continue to provide care. They can't do it in traditional ways, and we're trying to find ways to support them. So supporting Equality Michigan and helping uplift the message that unfortunately there are people who are being denied care in order to protect it from the rest of us right now. I also want to point out, though, that this isn't the end, right? Removing healthcare for trans and non-binary kids is not the end of this push from our federal administration. It's going to be contraception. It's going to be immigrants. I mean, we're already seeing, that's another thing that we saw in the budget that Matt Hall and the Republicans put in boilerplate, is that DHHS money cannot be used for any even medically necessary needs for immigrants unless it's in the process of deporting them, right? So we're seeing little groups that don't have good representation being attacked successfully, and it's going to keep spreading. So help when a group loses access to care, it's important that all of us are rallying around them and supporting them and helping them get what they need and standing up and saying, we got to do what's right. Everyone deserves access to healthcare. So there's my update. So there's my update from Lansing. I guess, are there any questions about Lansing World, things that you've heard, things you want me to address while I'm doing legislative update? Yes.
How about school funding? What's going on with that?
We don't have a budget yet. Like the most basic thing we don't have. Here's the deal. Okay, yes. So the way the budget process works, the executive rec, the governor, makes her recommendation way back in March of what she says, this is the money we're expected to be able to spend. This is how I think it should be spent. And then the Senate, they pass their budget, their school budget and their omnibus, their general fund budget out, when was that, June? Out of the Senate. They were well on track to meet that July 1st statutory deadline, the law that we have to have a budget done by July 1st. The Senate was in good shape to do that. The House ignored it completely. So even though there is a law that says that we have to have passed a budget out of the House and the Senate in order to start negotiating with the governor by July 1st, the House, which is controlled by Matt Hall, a Republican, ignored it completely. He also subverted the usual process of how we push a budget out of the House. Usually we have all these subcommittees where we're having testimony, and then the proposed, their chairs are given targets for how much each subcommittee can spend, and then they each present their subcommittee's budget, and we get to ask questions and offer amendments and vote on them. They didn't do that at all. They just, Matt Hall, single person who models himself on Donald Trump, had kept full control of the process. Instead of doing the usual process, he put his budget in front of the House with 1 hour before we were forced to vote on it. That budget was over 800 pages long. Yesterday with the superintendents, they didn't believe us. They said, some of the superintendents are like, you must have known what was gonna be in it. You wouldn't be given a budget that's 800 pages long and then being forced to vote on it if you didn't already know what was in it. And I said, look, that's what happens. Like I can't, he didn't do the usual democratic process of having the whole House participate. He put forth a budget. It was a really bad budget. And the Republicans absolutely united and they all voted for it and they have a majority, so it passed out of the House. So that's now the House budget. So right now we have the exec rec, we have the Senate budget, we have the House budget that passed out, which was a disaster of a budget. And if you want more details about how bad it is, I'm happy to tell you. One of the things that was shocking to me, they backed the blue, but they cut our Michigan State Police by 11%. It is in all measurable ways would make Michigan less safe and less healthy. They cut Medicaid, they cut schools, they did tricky things. Anne Boleyn, who's the chair of APROPS, was in that meeting with the superintendents yesterday, which was great because she needed to hear from them. They're pissed, and they expressed that to her. And she lied. She said that her budget for school aid was higher than the Senate and the governor. Technically, she's not wrong. But what she is implying is that their schools funding, their K-12 funding is higher, and that's not true. She's doing tricks. She's spending down our rainy day fund for the schools, which we did such a great job investing in so that our schools have a buffer in case of an emergency. She's spending that down. She's taking school aid dollars and putting more of them into community colleges and universities, which usually come out of the general fund, which she technically can do. But again, it's less money for K-12. And the other huge thing that she's doing is turning a bunch of our school funding that's usually ongoing commitment to continue to fund at a certain level and making it all one time, which are tricks that we play to make a budget look a certain way, and they're really harmful long-term, especially for our kids. This happening to the school aid budget. So that was part of what was going on too. But what is the goal now? Well, we've passed the House, we passed the Senate, we passed the governor, and now they have to go into conference. This is a usual part of the process where the three principals, Matt Hall and Winnie Brinks and Gretchen Whitmer, or representatives from them or them with their staff, right, go into a room and they negotiate a budget. And what do they need to be hearing from us as they are going into those rooms and hearing the budget? What I want them to know is that education and healthcare are the top two priorities. We are facing huge cuts from the federal, and I and my caucus and my colleagues in the minority in the House don't want us to be prioritizing road funding right now over our kids and our healthcare. So that is something you will hear from me. You might hear a slightly different message from the governor and Matt Hall. I also think it's important that they understand the pressure that yes, we need to get it done, and it cannot be done at the absolute expense of our kids and our healthcare system. So it's a tricky situation. We are heading into a government shutdown. If this budget is not passed and voted out by October 1st, then the state will shut down until we get a budget done. That's part of the process as well, which is really hard and really scary. And I will fully blame Matt Hall when that happens, because he has subverted the process. He's delayed the process. Half of his base supporters are thrilled with the government shutdown because they believe that when the government does less, they are better off. And we know that that is not true, and that we don't want his constituents to learn that lesson the hard way. So we're going to keep pushing to get it done and to continue essential services. Yes.
I am curious though, is Paul, is one of his talking points the transgender issue in regards to healthcare? Is he really focusing on that with his constituents and his colleagues?
He is using villainizing our transgender youth as a way to divide our Democratic Party and to appeal to his base. So we just had a new transgender votes last week, a new bathroom bill. He keeps putting these up because he saw it be successful once, where he picked off some members of the Democrats on one of these bills, and it caused a lot of tension within our caucus, and he loves that. He gets great joy out of causing chaos on our side of the aisle. So he keeps doing it. But we stayed united last week. We all voted no on the bathroom bill. I'm really proud of us. I think my caucus understands how important it is to not fall for his games, and that our constituents aren't asking for this, right? When you, these bills, by the way, I think this is like the fourth one now specifically attacking transgender kids, and they're absurd. They redefine gender in every single bill. This time it was, you would need to prove on your original birth certificate what your gender is in order to use the bathroom. Like, who's gonna start, if you don't look like a female enough, you gotta carry around the original copy of your birth certificate so that you can't be called out of, I mean, this is absurd, right? It doesn't make sense for enforcement. It doesn't make sense for, it's just a way to remind the base that is villainizing a group that they have state support, that they have this platform where we're willing to do this. And it passed out of the House because all the Republicans voted for it. So it's hard. It's very hard when I'm sitting out there and they got 3 speeches on that bill to talk about villainizing our transgender youth. We negotiated and we got 1. And how we used it was one of our members got up and just pointed out the absurdity of it, right? We're not trying to, nobody's asking for this, and our constituents deserve better. In fact, in her speech, she pointed out, like, let's get a budget done, right? Why are we wasting our time out here trying to villainize a very small group of people rather than doing what our entire state desperately needs us to do, our minimum expectation of passing a budget. So that's the kind of pressure we're doing. One more question. Oh. No more? Okay. Oh, yes, in the back.
I think I asked this last time about the budget, but is there a way to get, like, I know the budget specifically doesn't have a discharge petition, right? Is there a way to get that so that way you can force through the budget maybe? Like, can you guys, is it in the Constitution that the budget doesn't have discharge petition? Is there a way to like force one through like that?
Not that I know of.
Oh,
That's,
is that
yeah.
a way to play the rules?
Yeah, so there are some differences between like how federal budgets are done and state. You know, a couple things. We have to have a balanced budget by Constitution. The state can't go into debt. We also can't print money like the federal government, right? So we have these requirements and we don't have a lot of off ramps or other alternatives. If we don't pass a budget, the government's going to shut down until we do. All right, can I just do, my campaign manager will be very remiss if I don't mention that I'm running for state senate. Thank you. So yeah, running in the new Senate District 10, Mallory is great, and she is the incumbent, but it's not her current district. It does still include all of Royal Oak. It also includes where I live, Berkeley, Huntington Woods, and then new areas to me, which I thank you for sharing this out with your friends and family in those new districts. I'm currently working on setting up a variety of meet and greets and driveway meetups and park meetups in the new parts of the district. So, or the parts of this new district that are new to me. So if you have contacts in Ferndale, Pleasant Ridge, Clawson, Hazel Park, Madison Heights, Royal Oak Township, the western side of Warren or Centerline, please spread the word, get me in touch with your contacts. I am will continue to show up here whenever I can, and I'll also be spending more times in those parts of our region that are not ones that I currently represent. So thanks for your help getting the word out.
Great update, Natalie. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to the county level. We have Dave Woodward, Oakland County Chair. Come on up, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, David.
Good morning, Democrats. What Representative Price is dealing with in the legislature, I don't think we've had a shutdown in 20 years. About 20 years was the last time. It was detrimental, and it costs money to shut things down and then to reopen things. It's a complete waste of taxpayer dollars, and we're not immune to it. In Oakland County, school districts, local cities, we're getting the report that the shutdown of the state of Michigan, even like the Republican budget that was passed, has a potential of costing us $15 to $20 million, which is a big chunk of the dollars we use for public health, our economic development projects, our veteran affairs efforts, and a whole bunch of other things across the county. And that's only magnified when you multiply it against the 62 local communities and lost and shared revenue and all these things. It is detrimental. And I want to underscore, the reason we're in this situation is because Democrats do not control the House of Representatives, and we've got to take it back in 2026. So, Representative Price, you can take this back to the Speaker. Oakland County's budget is also due by October 1. We will adopt a balanced budget on time, on schedule, and we are going to do so living in the values that are shared in this room to make sure we're investing people, working to lower costs, and making sure that people are safe and have the tools to prosper in our county. We've got about $1 billion budget, and so in those things, and some of these are cuts, we're not immune from the Trump administration. The Trump administration comes into office, wipes out, cuts grants, cuts them short. We had nursing homes that we were doing testing of waste that was leaving the building. Why were we doing that? This is kind of getting into the mud, literally. We were testing for viruses. We were testing for the spread of COVID. We were testing for illnesses, things that we could test in this large sample. And then when there was a spike, we deployed the public health department into the most vulnerable people that live in our county. Money was gone. And so we're trying to work really hard to kind of backfill it. These are things that happen when your government actually becomes hostile to actually helping smaller governments, state governments, county governments, and local governments be able to do their work. So this budget, as we're going forward, this is the first, as Democrats have been charged, County Executive Coulter and the executive office and Democrats running the board, figuring out how do you write a budget knowing that there is a tremendous amount of exposure. We have a healthy rainy day fund. We always set that up to be something that was if an economic event occurs or a natural disaster event occurs, things that are outside our control directly. But this is actually being forced upon by Republicans in Washington and Republicans in Lansing. And so it has been incredibly challenging to figure out what we do and how do we do it. I want to lift up three things that we're plowing forward. We had a grant that the Department of Justice sends us a letter. We have the threatening letter. A lot of governments are getting this threatening letter. Like, if you do DEI, we're going to stop funding you. And so the county executive, myself, basically said, Pam Bondi, here I am, come for me. We will take you on. We will fight. We are not backing down. We will continue to lean into our support for diversity, equity, and inclusion because it's the right thing to do. It's the thing that Oakland County wants us to do, and you're not going to threaten us. I might have to raise taxes for Republicans to pay for it, but we'll figure that out. But the Department of Justice cut funding for one of the most successful crisis response units in the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. Now, everyone knows that Mike Bouchard and I don't always agree on politics, but one thing we do agree on is that if we wrap around community resources, someone's having a drug overdose incident, it's better to get them the help they need so they can get better than to put them in jail. And this, applaud that, absolutely. And this unit stays in touch with those individuals because we know drug addiction, this is a process and everything. And it's a 3-unit team. And the Department of Justice said, yeah, no, we're not funding you anymore. So what are we going to do? We're going to fund them going forward. We launched a human trafficking, an anti-human trafficking task force a long time as a county board. And we have an incredible prosecutor working with our sheriff's office, building up the largest anti-human trafficking effort in the state of Michigan. It has been just awesome to watch a willingness of law enforcement to come into a room, in some cases with people, they're like, I usually put people like you in jail, to have a conversation. How do we rethink this and identify this isn't a drug crime? This isn't a solicitation issue. This is a human trafficking event that's happening. And there are girls and boys that are being sucked into this dark world, and I need you to spot it. The prosecutor launched this training of law enforcement agencies all across the county to bring attention to this. Law enforcement agencies came to the table and said, oh my God, it's happening everywhere. And so, and as a result, as these cases have come to surface, they're incredibly complex. One incident leads to another, and then you learn to, there's 20 victims that are part of a network, and it is sad, it is heartbreaking, and we have prosecutors that are busting their back, working hard without the staff and the support to be able to do it. We are going to be bulking up their staff in the sheriff's office and the prosecutor's office. We've already started and we backfilled for this current budget, and we are going to make it permanent going forward, knowing, and this is the message to the perpetrators out there. One, we send a message in Oakland County, we will find you, we will hunt for you, then we will take all of your money and we will prosecute all your friends. And it is working, and to the point that there's a message and there's these terrible online threads in which is, don't go to Oakland County, they're coming for you, and which is fine, and it's doing the job here to reduce it here. But this is not just an Oakland County problem. This is a regional problem. This is happening all over the country. And if we don't get funding from the feds and the state to help support this, we're not going to be able to protect the most vulnerable, our youth, that get sucked into this at a very young age. And so I'm very proud that the executive, myself, and others, I mean, we're putting not just money where our mouth is, but making certain that our prosecutor's office that's dipping into her budget pockets to help. I mean, we're able to bulk up a certain level. She's bulking up even, further. And I think she's going to make a very awesome attorney general. I want to talk about law enforcement, the co-responder program. We have an incredible partnership with the Oakland County Health Network, which is our mental health authority, working with the cities of Royal Oak, Ferndale, Hazel Park, and Madison Heights. Had a conversation with some of our local elected leaders earlier. We put up the first year funding to pay for social workers to go out on the beat when there's a mental health episode out there, with an understanding that we'll put up the first year, local communities need to work together to come up with the money to keep it going. With all this uncertainty, with the money not coming from Lansing, with the money not coming from the feds, that it puts a lot of pressure on these local communities. And so Oakland County is stepping up. We're going to pick up the next year, and we're going to work with our local communities to continue it. It has been incredibly successful, in which instead of putting someone in jail, we get them the mental health support that they need so that they can get better. And every chief, every officer says they swear by it, and we've got this amazing team of social workers that are doing it. And then lastly, when it comes to investing people and lowering costs, because as Democrats, that's what we believe in, we started an initiative to help young people pay off their student loans. Now, every Republican in Oakland County says, well, when I was young, well, he was 70 years old. When I was young, I paid my own way through college. I'm like, yes, Wayne State was $8,000 from year 1 to year 4. It's not that anymore. I'm a proud Wayne State grad, and it wasn't even that for me then, and it's almost the same cost as our other big 3 universities. What I am happy to say that despite no Republican support, that not only did we partner with this national organization, without getting into the details, is basically a kind of turbo tax for student loan debt management. And we put up the cost to pay for it so any resident in Oakland County can sign up and get enrolled and qualify for every possible program out there. And here are the stats. I can just tell you, we spent $500,000 over a course of the year. There are 2,500 people, employees, and any resident in Oakland County is eligible. $45 million of student debts under management, saving an average person $140 a month. That's like $1,700 a year. I mean, that's car payments. That's a rent payment. It's again, it's one of these things that help lower costs. And since Trump came in, and he is bound and determined, garnishments are starting up this month, I believe. It's going to put a huge amount of pressure in. This is a way to help offset that with $26 million projected in forgiveness going forward. If you work in a job that's in high demand, a nonprofit in the public sector, that there's ways to help reduce things. It's an incredible success story. We're going to continue that program at least for another year as we get through this certainty. And then we're going to figure out a way, how do we help people support it going forward? It is a huge win, lowering costs for our young people who are going out, who are going to take the reins to make certain that they're earning good wages so they can pay the Social Security tax to make sure that everybody who depends on it can survive going forward. The last thing, and I'm just going to close out, well, our budget is going to be done likely in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be making new investments in housing, new investments in homelessness prevention, public safety, and other cool placemaking initiatives, which I'll talk about next time after I got to get through first. But we'll get it through. We're going to be able to do that and also have the dollars in reserve to make certain that we can weather these tough, it's not even economic conditions. It is political conditions that are caused because of one thing, that Republicans got elected to office. So let me just close here because this is a Dem club and I got to say this. The people you elect matter. And at the federal level, at the state level, we're seeing it play out every single day. And Representative Price is up there with her colleagues in the Democratic caucus fighting back as best they can. She needs more help in the House. And she's going to go, and when she goes to the Senate, she's going to continue that fight. But here in the local election, there's another election. And let me just tell you one thing, because I was talking to some of my colleagues in the county, and they wanted me to deliver this message. There's a person running for mayor. Her name is Trish Oliver. She is a MAGA activist. I have had the unfortunate experience of sitting in a room watching her conduct a recall with some of her colleagues. And her colleagues threatened the life of the Oakland County Director of Elections. Threatened the life. She was there, stood by, did nothing, let it happen. Now, he is being handled accordingly to the law, but she is running with a slate of people who share the values of Donald Trump and not us. And that's what matters. We're able to do the great things in this city because we've got the leaders that we elected. If we elect the wrong leaders, good things don't happen, period. Let's go on. Democrats, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Oh, lots of people speak. Thanks, Commissioner Woodward. Just drove through Pontiac yesterday, and the Phoenix Center is down. It looks bizarre, but that's part of the county redoing their headquarters. All right, let's go to the city level. We got some commissioners who want to speak, and the mayor, of course. Everybody welcome Rebecca Cheezum, Brandon Kolo, and Mayor Mike Fournier.
really divide up what we wanted to talk about, so I'm just gonna go through my list. And I actually wanted to start with a quick comment on education, which is not outside of our purview. We're kind of adjacent to education, but I have a 10-year-old at Northwood Elementary School. I'm a university professor, so obviously I care a lot about education. I know everyone in this room knows this, but I think it's important to state that it's not just people like me who care about education, but if you want to have educated healthcare workers, if you want to have educated engineers designing your streets and your buildings, if you want to have educated policymakers who have more than a basic understanding of math and history and science, looking at you, RFK Jr., we need to have strong education. So a little bit outside my purview, but I just needed to say that. As Commissioner Woodward commented, we have a really great commission here. I'm really proud of the work that we get to do. We're lucky that our current group is pretty aligned, and so that means that we get to talk to city staff, share our vision, share our values, and then work together with them to implement them. And so I have a couple exciting updates that I want to share. I've been kind of sitting in the back a little bit nauseous about some of the stuff we've been hearing. Let me be the bearer of some good news for a change. So as you walked into the building this morning, you probably noticed that we are in the newly renovated senior center. That's been something that's been in the works for a few years, and I'm really excited to see that happen. We have ADA compliant bathrooms, yay, new flooring, new paint at the senior center. We have the sheltered area outside the entry. That's really important because sometimes seniors are waiting for rides to get back home or wherever their next endeavor may be. So these are really great things happening here in our senior center. We have a tree program here in Royal Oak. I wanted to bring this to your attention because we are planting trees in the area, the easement area between the sidewalk and the streets. And so if you are interested in getting a tree planted there, we care very much about our mature trees. I know we have a member of our audience with a great passion for mature trees. We care about our mature trees, but unfortunately they're not immortal creatures. And so we are planting the trees for the next generation, quite literally. In the last couple of years, we have planted more than double the amount of trees that the city has had to take down due to risk or age. So we are hopefully exponentially growing the number of trees we have in our already designated tree city of Royal Oak. You may know that there is a survey out from the library. I'm sure I'm not alone. I love our library so much. It offers so many things, and they're looking to, improve and to I think I've got some members of the board who can speak more eloquently than I can about this, but they're looking to improve and further grow what that library offers. And so there's a survey out, so I'd ask that you please look to complete that survey. Let's keep books, vast array of books and other things at the library. And then I just want to close out with an initiative that I'm spearheading, which is the Safe Routes to School initiative. If you have kids in schools, you might have filled out the survey. This is something that's really exciting to me. It's a collaboration between the city of Royal Oak Public Schools. St. Mary's is on board. I talked to St. Paul's. I think they're all on the way. And if you've got contacts at Shrine and you can help me out, we're hoping to get Shrine involved too. But we're all working together to look at what might prevent kids from walking, biking, or rolling to school. Rolling could be skateboard, or it could be wheelchair, or whatever. And if kids use active transportation to get to school, there's all sorts of great outcomes, educational benefits, health benefits, community growth benefits, community engagement benefits. And so we're trying to improve the conditions to encourage kids to do that. As part of that, we're going to be doing street audits within 2 miles of all the schools in Royal Oak. And if you know Royal Oak, that is basically all of Royal Oak and actually a little bit of Berkeley. And so we will be looking for some volunteers for that. And I'm hoping I can depend on the club to maybe post this on the social media. We have potential dates of October 10th and 11th and 24th and 25th. These are Fridays and Saturdays, where if you're interested in helping out with this, what you would do is you would convene at a location TBD, at a time TBD, and get some quick basic training, and then you can go out and walk a few blocks or a mile or whatever you feel like doing of road and look at the conditions of the sidewalks, the lighting, the crossings. Note that down in a survey on your phone or on paper, whichever you prefer. We're going to bring all this data together along with our surveys of students and parents and tallies of how kids have gotten to school in the spring and in the fall. and then work with the communities around those schools to develop a plan to propose for funding. Now we get to the exciting part. If you thought the last part was exciting, this is the real exciting part. There's potential of funding. It is federal, but fingers crossed, it's still there right now, of $300,000 in infrastructure funding and $15,000 in programmatic funding per school. So this could bring in millions of dollars into the community to improve street crossings, conditions for kids getting to school, and then also building programs to help encourage them to do that. And I would suggest that if our streets are better for kids to get to school, that also means that they're better for everybody to get around the city. And so this is something I'm really excited about. If you would like to be part of that, you can certainly reach out to me, but I'll also get one of those dates are firmed up. We'll get those out through the club so that you can volunteer if you're interested. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner Cheezum. This is just a case point. When you elect qualified, serious candidates, amazing things are going to happen in your community. Becca came to us. I mean, she has all the qualifications, but she has a heart to serve. And I see firsthand every day, I get to work with the best colleagues, I think, in the area. And they come to the table with ideas. They use science and evidence and planning to get things done. And it's not always salacious. It's not something that you can put on a meme or a bumper sticker. But as the work gets done, we see the impact in our community. And that comes because we, as Royal Oakers, elect serious candidates to do a serious job. And I feel like the luckiest mayor in the world that I get to serve with all of these people. And I would also like to paraphrase something Carl said. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we're getting hit from all angles at the national level, the state level. Certainly that's impacting our community here in Royal Oak, but we can't concede our own backyard. Local elections matter, whether it's our school board, whether it's city commission. We have to have the right people that are willing to do the right job. It's not always about agreeing on all the issues. It's impossible for all of us to agree on all the things all the time. But I hope we agree that over time, all the decisions we've made as a community together have led to great results for those that we serve. And I think what matters most when you look at a candidate in these trying times is the candidate truthful? Is the candidate pandering? Is the candidate have experience? Is the candidate going to tell you what you want to hear or tell you what you need to know? And I'm highly confident that we've elected right now the people that serve up there, the right folks. And I hope for this fall, we do the exact same thing. A little bit about what we have going on in the city, and Becca covered a lot of it. You got to leave something for Brandon, right? Poor Brandon. We passed our budget in June. Yeah, so we put ourselves in a room. We talked about our priorities. We listened to citizen input. We're always listening. It's not just a one-time thing. We do surveys. We do all the things. We got our priorities. We hashed it out. We brokered some deals. We got the budget done. It's not compromise. It's just figuring a way forward together. Okay, there's a difference in compromising and figuring out a way forward together, and that's what your Royal Oak City Commission did. So we have a budget. However, Joe asked last time. He said, "Hey, you kind of scared us a little bit about a lot of the uncertainty from federal money and state money that we rely on." And let me first say, these aren't gifts from the federal government. They're not gifts from the state government. This is money that we all pay into. And we elect state leaders and everything to come back and say, okay, priorities aren't just Royal Oak. We're not tiny little fiefdoms. We live in a state, we live in a county, we live in a country. And so, yeah, there's a lot at risk, okay? There's still, we're moving forward with our budget. We have a fund balance like the county does. We were saving that for same types of rainy days. There's about $7 million in shared revenue we get from the state that currently right now is completely at risk, okay? We use that money for a whole myriad of things. We have about $20 million in total grants, primarily from the federal government. And when you batch that up to our general operating fund, which is $51 million, that's a big deal. So we're not losing hope. We'll always find a way. We do our budget and then we prioritize as we get new information, as new things happen. But I just want to tell you that this stuff isn't pie in the sky. It affects whether we can effectively deliver EMS services, whether we can get the cops to your house when there's an emergency, whether your road is paved, whether Oakland County Health Network is working with us or not. And I want to give a props to Dave Woodward. I got a little bit of information and I reached out as a citizen and mayor to our representative in Royal Oak. And I said, sup, dude, what's going on with this? This has been the most effective program in our city. Our cops love it. They love Oakland County Health Network. They love that they understand that policing isn't just handcuffing people and writing traffic tickets, that it's really about preventing things from getting people the help that they need. And I will say, a lot of mayors are jealous of our police department. We have a great team of helpers in our community. And so not taking this away, but not investing in this is going to be a huge impact for our city. So we're fighting for it. We got help from the county for a little bit, but I want you to keep it on your radar because we talk about transforming how we do public safety. This is how we transform public safety. Real quick, some of the things that Becca didn't touch on, and I'm sure Brandon, I apologize if you want. Usually we coordinate a little bit, like, hey, what do you guys want? When we said that we were going to make aging in place and affordability a priority in the city of Royal Oak, I can tell you, you're going to start to see physically that happen. I don't know if you read the news. We have 2 buildings going up in and around downtown that will have affordable housing elements in them. We have the Lockwood Project right next to the courthouse, and we have right on Lincoln, it's called Lincoln Place, right near the railroad tracks. We worked with those developers to bring affordable housing to Royal Oak. They are, and I'm going to tell you, we're hearing that this is the blueprint for every other community to look to. When people think of affordable housing, they think of Section 8. Let's just go put all the people that make low income there. Let's put them by the railroad tracks and off. We don't want to see them, but okay, we want to help them. These are buildings that are world-class buildings that are going to have people of all income levels with dedicated units for people, hardworking people, for young people that want to call Royal Oak home, and for people that want to sell their house on a fixed income and age in place in our city. So this is hard work coming together. It's smart work coming together. And I realize that I've gone way over my time. I just want to let you know there's a lot of things to look forward to, even though at the federal and state level it looks a little bleak. Our 4 corners, our backyard, we're taking care of business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Mike and Becca. That's really informative and nothing left for me. The summer's slow in Royal Oak, right? There's not, we did pass our budget early on, so we got done. But raise your hand if you live near a park. Yeah, that's the entire room, right? Because everyone here lives within a quarter mile of a park. We have 53 of them in the city. Next month, we're going to debut Blossom Park. We just got a $750,000 renovation. I mean, that's pretty impressive in the heart of a neighborhood. Next year, Gundire is getting $850,000 renovation. This is stuff that just stopped happening in the early 2000s in Royal Oak. We stopped investing in our community assets for no other reason than the money wasn't there. We hit the economic cliff and the money dried up. So now we are making, really informed decisions and making sure that we are fixing mistakes in the past. And that takes people who want to commit those funds, who want to commit continuing to move forward like that. So while Mike and Becca touched on all the official stuff, I will talk about the election coming up. I'm up for election this November. So is the mayor. And then Woodie and Paul in the back here are also running with us. We want to be the ones who continue the work down. They're clapping for you, Mike.
I think they're clapping for Woodie and Paul.
Yeah. We are the ones who want to keep this going forward. I think we all love living here, and it blows my mind when people try to campaign on what a bad place Royal Oak is. Why would any of us live here if it's a bad place? So many of us have invested so much in living in this community because we're doing all the right things. We're trying to, we're investing in senior services. We're investing in our parks. We do have a vibrant downtown. There's a lot of good things going on in Royal Oak. So anytime I hear someone, there are legit things to improve, and we're always trying to do that. But people try to tell you that this is a terrible town. It blows my mind. So I'm looking forward to the campaign season. We need all the help we can get. We'll have some volunteer activities coming up. I know Mike James is going to help us like he always does. Can we clap for Mike James? He is the most amazing coordinator. So I'm just going to ask, if you want to door knock with us, if you want to do lit drops with us, those make a difference. Neighbor to neighbor, it's how we reach, it's how we connect. Matt Hall and, all their cronies in the house, they started somewhere. A lot of them started in city council, city commission, school boards. They get in, they start small, they start local, and then they just wreak havoc. So we don't want to see these other people get elected and try to destroy our communities. So I hope you'll help us this year. Thank you for letting us do this work. It is a true privilege to serve the people of Royal Oak.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you, guys. All right, before we get to candidate reports, we have the school board. You guys want to speak?
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Okay. Tim and Lauren, just an hour,
Just
yeah.
an hour.
Just, yeah.
Everyone cool?
But no.
So we also passed a budget because we had to by July 1st, yet we don't know how much we have. Does it make sense to anybody? It's
It was a guess. It was a really good guess.
we usually guess pretty good, so we'll see what happens. Our superintendent has pretty much guaranteed that we're okay. In February, we're okay through October. After that, we don't know. Our rainy day fund should not be used to pay our teachers, should not be used to pay our staff, and that may happen. But we do everything we can to prevent that from happening, and we're just rolling with whatever Natalie can give us. Make it happen, Natalie. It's not Natalie's fault at all. And speaking of money, we had our first public meeting on Thursday to start discussing the renewal of a bond. What we're looking at right now is an $83 million bond, which will not raise your taxes. A renewal is going to keep everything the way it is, and it's going to help us continue to maintain our properties, our buildings, our classrooms, and providing the best education we can for our kids in Royal Oak.
Yeah, they like it.
Perfect. All your
Good.
friends.
Vote yes.
And then Lauren.
Yeah.
You've got the next 54 minutes.
All right, great. 54 minutes. I can do that. Everyone's like, oh. I'm Lauren Jasinski. I'm one of your school board members. I just wanted to real briefly acknowledge the fact that I'm coming to you once again the week of a mass shooting at a school. There aren't words. There aren't words. And you guys know it. I know, we're preaching to the choir when we come to events like this. We know that every single person in this room is doing what they're supposed to, voting for who they're supposed to. Our volunteers like Deb and Diana and Jane, right, go above and beyond what they're supposed to do in their everyday lives to advocate for safety in our communities. And it's still not enough, right? We wake up every single morning with this kind of news. And as an Oxford survivor, right, like I know what is ahead for those families and I know what's ahead for that Annunciation community. And it is the worst thing you could possibly imagine, right? And I don't know. I just thank you for a moment, I guess, to just share my feelings because they're deep and powerful. And we're still doing what we have to get kids to school, to welcome them, to not share how frustrated and scared we are as adults, because we still want our kids to have the life that they deserve and the experience that they deserve every single morning. And we want schools to be fun, beautiful places. We don't want them to be scary. We as I'm incredibly confident that we as a district are doing every single thing we possibly can to have good plans, good decisions. To be honest, the amount of money, time, and resources that our district spends making sure we have safety plans is insane, right? We shouldn't. We should be developing wonderful reading programs. We should be figuring out after school programs. We should be figuring out how to treat our staff and students better all of the time. And instead we have to be in hundreds of hours of safety planning meetings. But we do it because we know that that's the situation that we're in right now. As a community, I want you to feel really confident in what we're doing. Our relationship with the city and the Royal Oak PD and surrounding law enforcement is
incredible. We are far ahead of the game across the state in terms of adopting unified safety plans, communicating with our law enforcement, and being really, really aware of the impacts that gun violence has on schools, right? These are not two separate issues. Gun safety is an education issue. We have Tim brought the district's very first Wear Orange and guns and safe storage resolution to the district immediately following the Oxford shooting. We have worked really hard as a district for the last 4 years to make sure that we're communicating effectively and openly with families. One of the very few laws that got passed and open in lame duck last winter was basically a supplement to the state safe storage laws called Safe Home, Safe Schools. This law makes it necessary. It makes it mandatory, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Mandatory for every single district in the whole state by October 1st to communicate to their families that Michigan has a new safe storage law. That if you live in a gun or if you live in a home with a firearm, that firearm needs to be locked, stored separate from ammunition and away from children under 18. And that every single district in the whole state has to share information about how to do that effectively with families. Like I said, Royal Oak has been doing that for 4 years. We do not need to be told by the state that gun safety is an education issue and that we're all accountable for keeping our kids safe. So we are doing that. We're adding to it. We're also going above and beyond what the state is asking of us in terms of communication. We have free gun locks available in all of our school offices for families. We are communicating that information regularly to our families, and we actually added like a letter to our back to school information where families have to acknowledge the fact that they know that there is a new law in the state and that they are committing to abiding by it if they have firearms in their homes. So I just wanted to share that because it's important. And I did want to acknowledge our wonderful student board members who are here. Not only do we as a club have we expanded to support the Royal Oak High School Dems, but 2 of the founding members of the Royal Oak High School Dems are 2 of our student board representatives, Cameron and Owen, who are here. And we're so thrilled to have their input and voice at the table. They're incredibly vital in our conversation. They pretty much led the finance conversation on Thursday night about things that our schools needed and things that our students wanted. And I want you all to just know that that voice is going to be in every part of our planning and our bond process to make sure that our schools are meeting our kids' needs. So thanks.
So I can't believe I forgot to mention, our new superintendent has come up with this amazing plan. We are moving the early childhood center from Adams Elementary School to our board office. The area that is now occupied by Churchill, the secondary high school in the district, is moving to the other side of that building. We're taking all that classroom space to expand our early childhood opportunities, hopefully allowing for more students and more families to get their kids into our schools quicker. And we need them because they're fantastic. Now,
and they come money.
And when we get a budget, they're going to help us.
Yes.
Was anyone have any questions for Lauren and I?
No. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. All right, time for candidates. If you're a candidate for office and you want to speak, you have this time now. Let's keep it really brief, please. No time for questions. Amanda Treppa, come on up. Please welcome Amanda Treppa.
Thanks, Carl. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Amanda Treppa. I am running for state senate here at District 10. I hope you're all doing well. So much has been said, right? Could start literally anywhere this morning. Somebody had asked earlier, I think they left, about if there's a way to push the budget through with like a kind of petition, something like that. There is not. However, I was going to lift up that when we win back the trifecta across the board, that's when you get creative, because there are ways on a state level to ensure that you can have funds outside of the yearly appropriation process. So I just was going to like lift that up, and the fact we keep saying that everyone like Matt Hall is to blame, right? I'm gonna lift up that Donald Trump is a narcissist, right? We can all agree. Yeah, okay. So is Matt Hall. And when you deal with narcissists, the only way to beat them is to truly get creative, like Rachel was saying earlier. You have to get creative because the democratic process is not something that they give a damn about and it doesn't compute in their brains. It just doesn't. So you have to start to look at it from a completely different angle. You have to think outside the box, and why we lost the trifecta is we lost a little bit of our creativity, in my opinion, and how to actually push all the legislation that we had, like amazing gun laws that we were going to put in place, like the ghost guns, because I remember being up there in Lansing during lame duck and being one of the advocates walking into Republicans' offices and asking them to consider these bills day in and day out. My day job is I work at Detroit Action. Some of you are familiar, some of you are not. Grassroots organizing. We actually had Babies Over Billionaires, which has now evolved, as Julie was talking about, into Invest in My Kids. So organizing work from the ground up, advocacy in Lansing day in and day out on the opposite side of quote unquote elected officials. And part of why I'm running is, and I agree with Rachel, we need people who are not necessarily career politicians, but have seen it from both sides, both professionally and personally. And for myself, one part of my story, yes, I was homeless. A lot of you know my mom was a sex worker. That's how I got here. It's a whole thing. But the part I don't talk about a lot is my family that I was adopted into is very racist and very MAGA. So I grew up in a family that would say the N-word with the hard R to my face. And that's how I grew up in Sterling Heights. And I don't talk to them. We're very estranged. And having to survive in that environment, the mentality and the resilience you have to develop to get creative, to be able to go to school, succeed no matter what, be able to then go to college, be able to then go to New York, crush things, keep trying to check all of those boxes is something that cannot be taught. It is something that is lived, and we need to start bringing that kind of resilience and that kind of mentality into our politics. Because when the lights get really bright and the seat gets really hot, how are legislators actually going to respond? Because I do not blame just Karen Whitsett for lame duck. I don't. Because any strong leader knows that those cracks formed long before lame duck. I am the head of HR. I have the pulse on my entire organization day in and day out, and I usually can spot a problem 6 months in advance. So to blame one person or to blame only Matt Hall really is really doing all of us a disservice to how highly intellectual we all are. And we need people who work smarter, harder, and faster, because that is what this moment calls for. And when we say, I'm an elected official, you know, I can't really do the activism thing, I really think that's a cop-out because you can have a balance of both. What you're really saying is, I don't want to do the activism and then risk losing my seat. Well, if we've built a strong enough bench, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine, even if you do lose. We'll have somebody there, because public service is truly about giving back no matter what. Because once we cross the finish line, that's when even more work begins. But the work also starts now, right now in these conversations, and saying, I'm in Lansing a lot right now. I am mentored by many members of the House, many members of the Senate. Helena Scott, who was our rep, has endorsed me, supports me, and we were sitting up till 1 a.m. in Lansing talking about the budget recently and trying to break down every piece of it. I'm already there. I'm already at the table and telling you exactly how stressful it is. But I will tell you that the Senate is dedicated to getting it done by October 1st. Those people have not slept. They're making calls to each other day in and day out, and they are going to figure out something so help them, including Winnie Breaks. And they're not going to compromise us for it. And I just wanted to get that out there. You can check out the website, treppaformichigan.com, to read more about my entire backstory, but I do believe in genuine representation for this district. I'm proud to live here. I don't know why anyone can complain about living in Royal Oak. I really don't. I love living here. My daughter attends. She started Adams the day after the shooting, which was really, really hard to send my daughter to school. Her first day ever. She's in preschool in the Early Childhood Development Center. It was really, really scary to go through that, but those teachers are amazing, many of whom are not knowing where their next paycheck might come from, depending on how we can figure out funds. And they made her feel safe to the point where she'd been regressing for 2 weeks, not really talking. She came out and said, Mommy, I love school. And I completely broke down crying. And I was like, this is actually what it's all about at the end of the day. So I thank you for your time. I will be around always for any questions. We're at tons of events. Our campaign's going well. We have some interns coming on, you'll see as well, that are all college students. One of them was a former Royal Oak Rising member, so we're really excited to have her coming on board this week. But please feel free to stop by and see Dina is my campaign manager over there. She has literature, everything like that. But again, the district is Oakland and Macomb counties. I'm proud to have roots in both and hope to have the privilege not only of your time continuously, but to represent you as the next state senator in District 10. Thanks.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much, Amanda. Let's go with Maxwell first, and then we'll go with Woodie and Paul. No time for questions. Just give me a real quick candidate speech. Thank you.
Keep it as quickly as I can.
Thanks, Max.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? All right. My name is Maxwell Chernoff, and today I am very excited to let you all know that I am running for the Democratic nomination for Michigan's 6th House District in the Michigan State Legislature. As you all know, you certainly should know by now that the wonderful Natalie Price is running for the state Senate, so her seat is now open, and I figured I would take a shot for it. But before I tell you a little bit, thank you. But before I tell you about my campaign and what I am running on, allow me to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in the state of Michigan. I have lived here my whole life, and I love this state with all of my heart. I am the son of a father who was a taxi driver and trucking dispatcher, and of a mother who has worked in the auto industry for more than 20 years. I grew up downriver in the city of Southgate in Wayne County. After graduating high school, I moved to Chesterfield Township in Macomb County. While living in Chesterfield, I studied political science at Wayne State University. Go Warriors. I'm sure most of you are Spartans or Wolverines fans, but you're not getting that out of me today. But I'm sure we can all agree that we don't like Ohio State. Also, while living in Chesterfield Township, I proudly served as a precinct delegate for Chesterfield's 5th precinct. So I want to give a shout out to William, wherever he's at. William, oh, there he is, William. I know the precinct delegates do a lot of great work, and I served as a precinct delegate, so I just wanted to recognize that. And finally, as of last year, I now happily reside in the city of Royal Oak in Oakland County. Now, while I have not lived in the area for too long, I can tell you this. Whether it is a very conservative, very Republican area like Chesterfield Township, or a very liberal, very Democratic area like Royal Oak, everywhere I have lived, I have seen good, honest, decent, hardworking Michiganders struggle with and concerned about the same issues. The cost of healthcare, the quality of our healthcare, the cost of housing and rent, the cost of childcare and a college education, the ever-lingering threats of gun violence and climate change, the ever-lingering threats to our democracy, our institutions, our systems of checks and balances and separation of powers, and the ever-lingering threats to our civil rights and our civil liberties. And when I look at these enormous issues that we face today, I find that the Republican Party isn't doing very much about them and is very often making them worse. And that is what the Republican Party has been about for quite some time. The idea of doing less for the people of this nation and of this state. When we look at healthcare, for years, they wanted to scrap the Affordable Care Act and kick millions of Americans off of their health insurance. And now we find ourselves faced with this issue where they're kicking millions of Americans off of their Medicaid, hundreds of thousands of Michiganders off of their Medicaid. When we look at public education, they are actively trying to gut and defund it. They want to scrap the Department of Education, dismantle public education, and privatize it. They even want to take away something as basic as free school lunches, and it is shameful. And you can forget about college education. They don't want anybody going to college because they think it's liberal indoctrination and a sham. Frankly, that opinion is a sham. And you can also forget about gun violence and climate change. For gun violence, they say it's not a gun problem, it's a people problem. And even if we accept that premise, do you see them doing anything to expand mental health services in this country? No. Do you see them arguing to expand universal background checks and red flag laws to ensure that dangerous criminals don't get their hands on guns? No, I thought not. And as for climate change, well, they don't even think it's real. So do with that information what you will. The list goes on and on and on. And I could go on for 5, 10, 20, 1,000 pages. I could go on for so long, it would take longer than it took the House Republicans to actually pass a budget. But I know we are limited on time, so I will get to the point. I believe now, more than ever, this state and this nation deserve leadership that is going to do more for them, not less. That wants to make the world a better place, not a worse one. We deserve leadership that is going to expand healthcare coverage, not rip it away. That's why I believe in the state of Michigan, we should pursue a public health insurance option and achieve universal health care in the state of Michigan. We do not need to wait for the federal government to act on this. And I do not believe that we need to be a big, wealthy state like California or New York. We just need the right leadership to do it. When it comes to public education, we deserve leadership that will adequately fund our public schools, not engage in cruel policy like stripping away free school lunches. Furthermore, we should pursue a policy of free public college and universities tuition-free. We should pursue a policy of making public colleges and universities tuition-free so that all Michiganders can enjoy the benefits of a college education without the burden of debt. We deserve leadership that will expand green and renewable energy sources, not just to tackle the threat of climate change, but to bring down the cost of energy as well. We deserve leadership that will protect and defend our civil rights and democracy, that will protect and defend our right to vote, that will protect and defend a woman's ability to get an abortion, that will protect and defend the LGBTQ community and people of color from attacks from the current administration. The people of Michigan and the people of this nation deserve more, and they deserve better. We need a Democratic Party that acts boldly and dares to dream bigger and gives people a vision of America to believe in. And make no mistake, it is an uphill battle, but I believe it is a battle worth fighting. Some of the policies I have laid out here today will not be easy to achieve, but in the great words of John F. Kennedy, we do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. And that is why I am running. That is why today I humbly ask for your support in next year's August primary as well as the November general election. Thank you all very much for giving me your time today. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good job, Dan. All right, sorry for the time. Come on up, guys. Whichever one to go first. Paul Bastian, running for city commissioner.
Wow. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here today. So we've heard a lot, and I'm not going to take too much of your time to add, but I do want you to put one date down in your calendar. September 24th, 7 p.m. The League of Women Voters is holding a forum that is open to the public at City Hall, where our current mayor will face and very humbly and kindly eviscerate his opponent, and where Commissioner Kolo, Woodie, Gotina, and I, who have all sat on the dais, will be up on the dais with 3 people who have never been there before and will hopefully never be there again. Please come out and give your support. They will be taking questions from the audience and asking those on the dais to provide their answers. Above and beyond that, some of you in the Democratic Facebook group have asked about yard signs. I have some in the back if you'd like them. If you want to put some orange and teal on your lawn and show your support, I would appreciate it. Also, I'm having a fundraiser September 18th at Hotel Royal Oak. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I would be happy to see any and all of you there. Our fantastic former commissioner, Mr. Jim Razor, is co-hosting with Kyle Dubuck and Dennis Cowan. So above and beyond all that, I just wanted to say, echoing the mayor's sentiments, local elections matter. I am incredibly proud to have received your endorsement and to be on the ticket with the mayor, or slate, let me use the right terms, be on the slate with the mayor and Commissioner Kolo and Woodie Gotina, and we're all looking very, very much forward to serving you and the people of Royal Oak. Thank you so much.
Woodie?
One question, actually. Yes. At that debate, do we need a lot of people to be there because there's questions from the audience? We need a lot of Democrats.
We need a lot. We could use everyone in this room and all of your friends. All the Democrats show up. September 24th, 7 p.m. Show up by 6:30. City Hall. The mayoral debate forum begins promptly at 7, and the commissioners, I believe, are at 7:35.
So please show up by like 6:30.
Yes, 6:30 p.m.
That's not 6:30. Well, that be streamed on the internet. And can we ask questions from the internet?
I'm gonna give that to Brandon.
It will be streamed, but you can't ask questions from the internet. So they, in the past, they've used this forum to flood it with all their people. And then they ask, why are you taking away single-family housing? Why do you hate people? Why does the mayor drown kitty cats? Like it's spot. He only did it once. My cat.
I will put all that information, I'll put all that information in our email. I'm going to send out an email this week with a bunch of information. You'll get the information about that meeting so you can attend. Next up, Woodie Gotina.
Thank you, Carl. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know we're pressed for time, so I want to make some, I guess, brief, quick comments, but I did want to make some comments about some of the stuff that's been talked about here today. I'm not sure if anyone else picked up on it, but in most of what everyone's talked about today, there was an undercurrent of our youth and the next generation, from uplifting Royal Oak Rising to talking about the school funding in our budget, all the way through to the tree planting for our next generation. The reason I bring this up is that's one of the main reasons that I'm actually running. As I look at my own children and the milestones that they're going through, my son is a freshman at Royal Oak High School. My daughter is a freshman at Michigan State University. Go Green. We've built an incredible family here in Royal Oak, and I love this city because it has such a great community. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm running, because I see that the values that make this community so great are under challenge. And I've been on the Planning Commission for several years, the Environmental Advisory Board for several years. And I have chosen to be engaged in making sure that this city continues to be a great city and protect the values that have made my life and my family and my kids, have such a great life here. So I want to do that in a more impactful way, which is one of the biggest reasons I've chosen to run for a city commission seat. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I'm going to say about myself. I think most of you know who I am. For those of you who don't, again, Woodie Gotina, I've lived in the city almost 20 years. Served on the Planning Commission, the Environmental Advisory Board, helped to bring the new Master Plan 2050 to fruition. Our Sustainability and Climate Action Plan came through my tenure on the Environmental Advisory Board. I too have a fundraiser coming up the day before Paul's. You'll see the announcements coming out. It's going to be Wednesday the 17th at Pronto from 6 to 8 p.m. And I know we're pressed for time, so I'm going to make it real short. Again, thank you to everyone that has supported all of the candidates, supported myself. We're going to be going out and door knocking today. There's going to be many more events coming up. We need all of your help to make us successful and to protect the values that we all share. So with that, I'll take any questions, but I don't think we have any time for any. So, all right. You'll be able to get a hold of me. All my information's on the literature. I'm always open to talk, ask questions, whatever it may be. So thank you again. Appreciate you all being here.
Thank you very much, Woodie. If you guys can send me all that information about your fundraisers and whatnot, I'll make sure that everybody gets it. All right, real quick before we leave, I know we're over time. Real quick, social night, the usual third Thursday of this month, will be at Hopcat. We love Hopcat. Club t-shirts in the back. They're awesome. They're very comfortable. They're very blue. No Kings Thursdays. We do a protest, if you don't know, 11 Mile in Maine, 5 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. every single Thursday. It's rush hour. It's busy. We're always together. It's very safe. You're never standing alone. We get a lot of horn hawks. People love us out there. It makes us feel good. It makes the people feel good. A lot of horn honks in approval. Royal Uprising has their book club. The Wednesday, September 24th. It is whatever book you are reading. Bring it on. And that is it. Anybody have any questions?
There's a No Kings, October 18th.
Oh yeah, the big No Kings, the national organization, is October 18th. I don't think they've given out all the details on it yet, but I just got the notification as well. And as soon as that comes out, I'll let you know. If you guys aren't on a bunch of the protest sites, Indivisible, Fighting 9, nokings.org, Red Wine and, what is it? Yes. And then Distill, that was the last one, Distill Social. By the way, those are on the very last thing on our club emails. I put a ton of links. You just got to click on them. Distill Social will go on ours too. That wasn't on there before. Deb, you have anything last to say? You guys, I hope to see you. These are some of our signs from our Thursday protests. Bring your own sign. We also have other signs. It's an hour and a half. It goes by so fast. We welcome everybody here. You guys have a great time. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Motion by Mary, second by Elaine. Thank you guys. Have a good month. I'll get you an email this week. Thank you.